Our first storyteller tonight is not new to the stage. He has told multiple stories. He is not even new to our stage. He was here last year. John Lietzau has told a story here before. A little interesting fun fact about John is that he has just finished his first book, and it is called The Missing Link, An Adoptee's Journey from North Lake to Whiskey Point. Let's give it up for John Lietzau.
Thank you. So, the last time I saw the guitar player, I was working downtown at Northwestern Memorial Hospital. Now, Northwestern Memorial is east of Michigan Avenue and west of Lake Michigan, right next to the Rehab Institute. So, one thing that Northwestern does really well is hire all-star staff. Super smart, super credentialed. However, at least when I worked there, they were clueless about hiring people that were accustomed to working on a team. And that's what I wanted to do. As a drama teacher and a counselor, I wanted to do some team building because that would be one of the best ways for adolescents. That's what we were, was the adolescent psych unit, to get kids back into school. Okay, so one night I'm reading story. And the story was a chapter from the book Inherit the Wind. And one of my students stood up and she looked at me and she goes, "Well, Mr. Lietzau, you're an actor. Why don't you make this book into a play?" And there's a very interesting effect going on. I know some people laugh about that because actors and writing are very, very different. Did you ever drive down a hill when it was dark or about to be dark, and all of a sudden you see the lights go on in the town, and all of a sudden you know how cool that town looks and everything else? Well, that's what happened when she said, "Why don't you make this into a play?" Because word started getting around. And some of those people that weren't used to being on a team all of a sudden volunteered to be on teams. And it was pretty cool because, like, for instance, one of the counselors was a part-time makeup artist for the Lovables for the Chicago Bulls. And another one was an acting teacher. And so all of a sudden the synergy starts building and it gets really exciting. Well, during this time, we got an admit who was at the Rehab Institute for a long time. He was a young man, and it's very interesting that you were playing All Along the Watchtower because this 14-year-old boy was obsessed with wanting to be Jimi Hendrix, to the point that when he wasn't like Jimi Hendrix, he threw himself out of a window and broke his back. Now, he went to the Rehab Institute, and he was there for 6 months. A phenomenal physical therapist worked with him for 6 months just to be able to get him to be able to, on his own power, move from his bed to the wheelchair. And then he was brought over to our psych unit. Well, as we're making this into a play, I realized that there were 17 characters in Inherit the Wind. And I tutored this young man, I call him the guitar player. I tutored him in all of his subjects except for math because I suck at math. And he started showing some life and some energy, and I said, "You know, when I brought you over here, I started looking at some of your sketches, and you are a phenomenal sketch artist." I said, "Would you consider helping me out?" I said, "You know, I'll continue to tutor you as long as you help me out by being a storyboard artist for the play." And he thought about it for a while, and he said, "Sure, I'll do that." Well, he became the most popular guy because just like many of us up here tonight, we were kind of nervous about getting on stage. Well, so were these kids. So his drawings were phenomenal. The drawings of the costumes and the positioning of everything made it really easy for me to direct this play. So now he's at the point where he can stand. He can't walk yet, but he can stand. The play is performed. It's a big hit. And one of my joys was being able to see him take a bow, stand up and take a bow. So a couple weeks later, he's at a point now where he can walk and he's about to be discharged. And as he's walking to the door, I shake hands with him, and he hands me this painting. His very first watercolor. Very first. I said, that's incredible. You're giving that painting to me? He said, yes, Mr. Lietzau, because you're one of the reasons that I chose to stay alive. So time goes by, and I leave the psych unit. I go into practice for myself for a while. And then I decide, hey, I'm in my 70s. I need some physical therapy here. So I call up this agency, and I have them come over to my house. My wife had a massage table, so the woman comes over, and she does my physical therapy and everything. And then she looks up on the wall, and she goes, did you work at Northwestern Memorial Hospital? I said, yes, I did. She said, I know who painted that. I said, how did you know? She goes, I was his physical therapist for 6 months. It just took my breath away. And I realized at that point that those jobs that I had done all those years weren't just jobs. It was a calling. Thank you very much.